Right. So if you're here, hopefully you are graduating this spring or you're expecting to graduate in the summer. We're going to go ahead and talk about some of the ways that we prepare you for graduation and then life after graduation. We're going to cover filing your intent to graduate, completing the capstone, having a virtual celebration, commencement, connecting with career services, licensure, transcript, all that fun stuff. So if you are in the spring, if you're graduating this spring, you have already filed your intent to graduate and you don't need to do anything else. I've checked that list multiple times, and if you're graduating, you're on it and you're good to go. But for those of you who are graduating in the summer, recently the intent to graduate opened up so you can file it. You will do so through your MyUCF portal by going to the student self-service, student center, and then clicking that drop-down menu that says other academic and selecting intent to graduate apply. These are a few notes that you might come upon when you're doing it. You don't know the answer to. We are a non-thesis program, so be sure to select that option. For advisor, you may have had me and Renee as your advisor, but Renee is no longer with us. So just put my name as your advisor. And it takes about 20 to 30 minutes to fill out the intent to graduate. It'll also include a survey that you can complete at the end. And afterwards, you're able to check the status of it. So if you see it say pending, you're perfect. It'll say pending until you actually have your degree conferred. So don't be alarmed if you see that. If you have any questions about whether it went through, you can't really see the status of it, feel free to shoot me an email and I can check that for you. So in your final semester of your of your clinical field placement class, you will be enrolled in what we call the capstone, but is really just an assessment that you'll take to measure how our curriculum was for you. It's required for part of our accreditation with the CSWE, and it's something that has to be done before you graduate. But there is no passing score that you have to get in order to graduate. So don't be alarmed. It's called a capstone. And I know that in other programs, a capstone is like your final project or your final class. In this case, it's just an assessment, but it has no bearing on your grade or your ability to graduate. So if you have any questions about that, you'll want to reach out to your field instructor and they will answer any questions about that. But again, it's not something that will prevent you from graduating if you don't pass, for example. So don't be alarmed by that. Something that we like to do in the online MSW is have a virtual graduation celebration. We know that you're located all over the United States, even some of you are abroad. And we know that you can't always make it to the commencement ceremony that we have in person. So we like to host a virtual graduation celebration for you. For the spring graduates, our tentative date is Tuesday, April 30th. However, there are very few graduates this spring, just because the cohort is smaller. And so I'm not entirely sure we will be hosting it, but it's something that I will be in touch with you about soon. Even if we don't host the virtual celebration for the spring, we will likely host it in the summer. And what it is basically just a way for us to come together on Zoom, members of the School of Social Work, the director of the school, the director of the program, some of your faculty, field instructors will be there. And it's a way for you to invite friends and family to a live Zoom session. And then we all just get to brag on you and how great we think our graduates are. You will be able to provide us with a spotlight slide, which includes your information, who you are, if you want to include pictures of your family, what you're going to do with your MSW, and it's something that we share as we're reading out the graduates' names. So if you would like to contribute a student spotlight slide, even if we don't have a ceremony in the spring, I still like to put together a presentation and send it out to the cohort so everyone can see. Write the following information on it. There's no sort of template. You can kind of make it as fun as you want to. It can be very simple, whatever you'd like. I'll show you some examples after this slide. But basically your name, where you are, what you're going to do, and if you have a message for your family or friends, or a favorite quote, something like that. And we love it if you include a photo of yourself and of your family, but it's not required. If you are graduating this spring, please send me your slide. It's just a PowerPoint slide that you design by April 28th. And if you are graduating in the summer, please submit it to me by August 18th. I will remind you of these dates so you don't have to memorize them. So don't worry about that. After this presentation, I'll go ahead and send you a link to the recording as well as a copy of the PowerPoint so you can have it to refer back to. And these are just some examples that we have of previous students, previous graduates, and what they chose to include. Some are more simple, some include lots of photos, some just include one. These are just some ideas to get you going. And it's just really fun to see everybody in your cohort. And for those of us like the advisor who may never have seen you in person or seen photos of you and your family and stuff like that, it's really fun for all of us. So I encourage you to do so. Now, if you do want to attend commencement in person, you absolutely can. The most updated information is going to be found at this link at the UCF graduation site. And I will just tell you a lot of times, most of the time, they update the information there before they tell anyone in the college. So it's going to be, you might see it before I do. I would just encourage you to refer back to this website as it will have the most updated information. The spring 2024 commencement is going to take place on Friday, May 2nd at 2 p.m. It's in person. The ceremony lasts about 2 hours. It's the long one with the speeches and all of the stuff. But it's also really cool because you get to walk across the stage. Your cap and gown is required, and you can order it through Herff Jones. The website is the link to the website is on the UCF commencement site. If you haven't done so already, please do that. You cannot get a ticket for commencement or tickets for your guests unless you order a cap and gown. So I know a lot of people like to see if they can rent a cap and gown somewhere else or pick one up on Amazon or Goodwill or something like that, but you won't get tickets unless you do it through Herff Jones. And you will get 5 tickets per graduate. Infants and children in laps do require their own ticket. But if you have more family than 5 and you want them to be present at your special day, we have it live streamed on campus in 2 locations. So if they can't get into the arena to be there, they can watch it from one of these locations on campus. It'll also be streamed on YouTube and Facebook so other people can see if they're not able to come in person. And right now, we don't have the official date and time for the summer 2024 commencement, but we do know it'll be the weekend of August 2nd and 3rd. So refer back to that UCF commencement site, and it'll probably update late June for information regarding the August celebration. Ticket pickup. This is a question that we get a lot because a lot of our students are not local. If you are able to come in person, the campus pickup for tickets is available April 22nd through the 26th, and it's at the Fairwinds Alumni Center, and they're open from 9 to 5. However, if you cannot come pick them up in person, totally okay. Your cap and gown will be mailed to you, but tickets can be picked up as soon as you are near campus. So you can pick them up the day of the ceremony, though I would really suggest picking them up at least the day before because they will release tickets to extra tickets to people who come the day of to see if there's any extra seats than extra tickets they can get. So definitely contact the bookstore. Here's the number here, but I'll send that to you as well. And you can set up a time to come pick up your tickets before the ceremony. So if you're flying in, hopefully you're flying in the day before, or you can come the morning of the ceremony and get your tickets then. You can also designate someone to pick up your tickets. You have to write a letter and sign it. They have to provide ID. So if you have more questions about that, I will include a link for what needs to be included if you want to have someone else pick up your tickets in person for you. So things to know before you graduate, you may be familiar with career services. I encourage you to access career services before you graduate. The services they offer are more limited once you're an alum, but while you're currently a student, they have a lot of great resources. They'll help you work on your resume. They have drop-in resume live sessions they do. You can come in person if you're here, something like that. They also do something called the big interview, which is where they prepare you for interviewing after you graduate. Just lots of good resources on the Career Services website that I would highly encourage you to check out. The other thing we're going to talk about is licensure process and how your advisor and success coach can support you as you move forward. So another thing that Career Services does is they can do the resume critiques, interview skills, and help you with networking. They also have access to like a search engine where you can look for available positions. So definitely check them out before you graduate. So hopefully, if you are preparing for licensure after graduation, you're already aware of the requirements in your state. If you're not, please find them. You can do a Google search for your state with LCSW afterwards. In other states, they're not always called LCSWs, which are licensed clinical social workers. Some states call them something slightly different. So this will get you started if you put that information into Google. You can also go to the ASWB website and look. They have a state by state check, like you can checklist. If you want to check multiple states, you can check off several boxes and it'll show you the links to get that information for each state. Also encourage you to look into your local NASW chapters. You'll get some information not only about licensure in your state, but also about finding qualified supervisors, which is something that you'll need to supervise those hours you'll complete after you get your MSW. And we have an instructor with us today who will be talking a little bit more about her experience doing so. So if we have any questions, we'll get to those at the end. Transcripts. This is a big one. Everybody wants to know when their transcripts are available, when you can get them. You're going to request them through MyUCF the same way that you filed your intent to graduate. You're going to go to the Student Center, click that drop down menu, and choose Transcript Request Official. The biggest thing that I would encourage you to check off is when you go and submit this request, be sure to select the option that says hold for degree. And that way your transcript is not sent without your degree listed. Because a lot of times if students just request it, it'll go wherever you're sending it, but it won't have that final degree date because it takes a bit of time after you actually finish classes. So for those of you graduating in the spring, even though your commencement will be in May, you're likely not going to have your degree conferred until around June. So if you request your transcript early, just be sure to check that hold for degree option so it's not sent before your final grades, or you'll have to send another copy once the degree is conferred. A lot of states require a letter confirming your practicum experience or just confirming your degree. So if you need a letter like that for your state, wherever you're pursuing licensure, we have a link where you can submit your request. And it's something that I will send to you quite a few times before you graduate. So no need to memorize this. But it's basically, I'm going to ask you things like, where are you going to get licensed? What does your state need? And what your agency is where you completed your clinical placement and where it was located. So every state's a little bit different. If you're not sure what they require, feel free to reach out to me and we can find out exactly what they need. The other thing that students ask for sometimes is a letter for employment. So sometimes you have a job offer that's contingent upon you earning your MSW degree, but because the degree won't be conferred for some time, they hold off on the employment. So if you have a situation like that and a letter can be provided to them saying that, hey, they finished all their requirements, we're just waiting for that last piece, that degree conferral, I can provide that to you and send it directly to an employer or give you sort of a generic letter that you can have to give if you're interviewing places, that kind of stuff. So if you don't specifically have a form letter, let's say, that your employer requires, I can draft up something and we can work together to find that out. So if you're in that situation, just reach out to me and I'd be happy to walk you through it. And now I'm going to stop our slideshow and I'm going to let Ms. Kutchman speak with you. She is an instructor here with our program, and she's wonderful and she has a wealth of knowledge. I'm hoping that maybe you can speak a little bit about your experience post MSW and what students can kind of expect after they graduate.
Yeah, well, welcome everybody. I see many familiar faces from our clinical class, seminar class. So I'm excited for you all. We're getting very close to the finish line, right, to get the MSW. And I know from my classes, I'm going to be offering a little more in depth on licensure prep, but I guess, in my it's been a while since, but I still remember those moments. I remember that kind of nervous excitement, exhaustion as you get close to the finish line for your master's. And sometimes just thinking about the next step, that licensure process, if you are pursuing that post-grad, can feel kind of daunting. So I think, we're going to do some in the classroom, but don't hesitate to ask questions. I think that's my biggest piece of advice. Reach out to your professors, your advisors. I know you all do great just collaborating with each other on the journey. So I will say, like, when I started out, one thing if you have the opportunity to get supervision wherever you're going to work. That's one of the questions I think is good to ask in the interview process. If you are staying on at your agency, if they've offered you a position where you're interning and you're going to stay on, starting to explore that now. Do they have a qualified supervisor on site that can work with you in the supervision hours you'll be needing to get your license? I think that's a great benefit. Or if you're going to interview somewhere brand new, asking that question as one of those interview questions: do they provide qualified supervision for licensure? That's kind of a win-win, right? You can be working somewhere and getting that supervision you need right there in-house instead of having to find someone on the outside, which is always possible, but it can be a little bit more time-consuming. So, but I really wanted to. I know I can talk about my journey. My journey's been amazing. I still, every day I can look back, even in those tiring weeks, but I love the choice that I made to get the MSW, to pursue my licensure, and just the journey. It's been amazing. And now getting to be with you all on this other side of the journey outside of clinical work is amazing too, to get to see just the passion and the goals that you all have shared of what you want to do with your degree. So it's been an amazing journey. I think you all have made it this far. You're gonna just love the profession. There's our ups and downs, but when we can look back and see the work we've gotten to do and those lives we've gotten to connect with, I think that's what inspires me to keep going. So I wanted to open the floor, if this is okay, just for questions about, things that you all might want to know specific about the next steps, and maybe specific to what you want to do post-grad. So.
Definitely. So feel free to unmute yourselves. You can also write your question in the chat and we'll be monitoring that as well.
I have a question. For, like, if you want to get your LCSW, do you have to be supervised by another, do you have to be supervised by like an LCSW, or can it be like an LPC or something?
No, it will need to be an LCSW, and that's
Okay.
for social work, for the accreditation board. So it has to be, and the states will vary, like Adriana was saying, in Florida. Karina, I believe you're in Florida, correct? Yeah. I can speak to that a lot, but you have to have an LCSW who has also taken the qualified supervisor course through the state. So that's why you want to ask that question: are you a qualified supervisor? There are some states that will, it will vary a little bit. They have to have so many years post license, for example, like 2 years is kind of the typical what you'll see. And I've done a lot of research and prepping for that licensure workshop class, and most of them say it needs to be someone with 2 years post-licensure experience to provide the supervision. So, yeah,
Okay, thank you.
yes. Karina, I want to add a little something to that. Sorry, and this is it's kind of rare, but you will find them. Sometimes there are some LMHCs or maybe LMFTs, licensed mental health counselors, that have taken the additional courses and have been approved by the state to provide clinical supervision for clinical social workers. So that is a possibility, but like in the state of Florida, they have to take a certain number of social work courses on the graduate and undergraduate level and provide that to the state, showing proof that they've taken those courses. And then if they get approved by the state, that will be something they can provide to you to show that they are qualified to provide supervision to social workers and mental health counselors. The same can go for if y'all, once you're licensed, the same can happen. We can take a certain number of courses under the mental health counseling schools, and we can provide that transcript to the state, and we can be approved to provide supervision to LMHCs or those pursuing their license in mental health. But it's kind of rare because some don't want to go back to those additional courses, but I've met a few. So sorry, I didn't elaborate on that sooner. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Lynn, I see that you have your hand raised.
Actually, I think, hi, Christina,
Hi, Lynn.
but I
Good
think this
to
is for
see you.
Adriana.
Oh,
Thank
yeah.
you. So I'm sitting in my car because I have to go into the school in a bit. So I was just wondering, because I am considering coming from California, is there a smaller graduation for just our school and then a bigger one? Is that typically how it happens, like the day before for just our school?
So the face-to-face program does host a smaller in-person ceremony. And if you wanted to attend, that was something that we can make happen. But for the online track, we don't offer a smaller ceremony, since most people will either travel to come to the big ceremony or attend the virtual one. If you're interested in coming to a smaller one, there is one coming up at the end of this semester. And I can get you information about that. That will happen the day before the big graduation, the big commencement ceremony. But otherwise we don't host one in person that's smaller than the main commencement.
Oh, okay. So the online one will be the day before. I was confused because you asked for that slide for August 18th, which
Oh,
is
sure.
after.
Sorry. Yeah. So that one, because summer graduation is a little bit different, our semester ends after the main campus ends for the summer. So commencement's actually taking place prior to the end of our semester. But if you're graduating in the summer, you can still walk in that ceremony if you'd like to. In the summer, there is no smaller ceremony. Only in the spring does a smaller ceremony exist. But we do the virtual celebration every semester.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Sure. Stephanie, hi.
Hello. So my question, and I'm sorry if you went over this in one of the slides. For the graduation, is there a certain amount of family members that we can have that come to it? And if so, is there an option for them to be able, those who are not able to make it, to watch online, like a link?
Yes. So there is a set number. You get 5 tickets per graduate. And that includes any infants or any kids that might be sitting on a lap. Those are included in the 5 tickets you have. But if you have more than 5 people who want to see you graduate, if they want to come in person, we have 2 locations on campus where the commencement will be live streamed. So there'll be a lot of seating and then just a big screen to watch the ceremony. And it'll also be streamed on YouTube and on Facebook. So we can send I share the link to the virtual, the live stream. So you can send that to anybody that you'd like.
Okay, and then if they do decide, because you mentioned the two separate locations, would we need to get tickets for that for them to see it live stream?
No, you don't
Okay.
need to get tickets for that. Right now, that's typically in our alumni center, the Fairwinds Alumni Center, which is across the street from the arena. And then occasionally, I think they open up rooms in the student union, but you don't need tickets for those.
Okay, and then even child, like even a baby will be considered as one
Even a
ticket?
baby, yeah.
Okay,
I don't know why, but yeah, that's what they say. So
okay,
there's also the possibility, though it's unusual, especially for the spring commencement, that tickets will be available the day of. Like at Will Call, if you go to the arena to see if there's any available tickets for anybody who couldn't come or anybody who didn't need all their tickets, you can definitely ask for them there. But otherwise, those people, those extra folks, will be directed to sit in the two locations where they can live stream.
okay. And is it closer to, I'm sorry, so many questions.
No, you're fine.
And is it closer to our graduation? Like, does it automatically come to us like through an email, the tickets, or is it
Oh
we
no, so
pick them up?
yeah, so if you're close, you can pick them up during it's between April 22nd and April 26th. You can pick them up in person. If you're not local or you won't be here until just before the ceremony, you can call the bookstore to set up a time to come pick up your tickets. So I have that in the presentation, and I'll send that to everybody in the cohorts with the presentation and the recording, so you can see that link and that phone number if you want to set up a time to come.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. If you're graduating in the summer, we'll be hosting this session again next semester. So I'll send you everything now, but if you think of more questions or anything, we will have another session before you graduate. And for anybody who has questions after this, feel free to send me an email and I'm happy. We can set up a time to speak one-on-one, or we can talk on email, whatever you'd like. And if you have any more questions, we'll hang around for a few more minutes, but that's the end of our presentation. Basically, I just want to remind you that you can always reach out to me as well as your success coach, Barbara Bush, and we're happy to help you navigate any services that UCF offers. Happy to help you with that licensure process. And if you're in Christina's class, you'll be very lucky to get a more in-depth explanation to what pursuing licensure is like. But I'm also happy to work with anybody if you're in a different state, anything like that. I'm happy to work with you on that. No, Jennifer, there is not yet a time for the summer commencement. We only know that it will take place either August 2nd or August 3rd. We don't have a time yet. It seems like we've been mostly in the afternoon on the second day, but it's not consistent, unfortunately. As soon as I know, I will let your cohort know.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
So I'm in Arizona, but I'm from Florida, and so I was kind of like, I don't know, a weird of like, do I like try to pursue like license in Arizona and then try to transfer to Florida? But whenever I look up the Florida stuff, I keep seeing that you have to take these additional courses, I believe, and like one of them said it was about like there was like an AIDS course you had to take and
Yeah.
then something else. And I don't know, is that like real or was I
Yeah.
misinformed?
Yes, it's real.
No, that's real. Yeah, that's
Okay.
there's and a lot of states will have some, like California has a whole list of courses that need to be taken as part of licensure, but these are courses like in Florida, they are more like a workshop
Okay.
type course. So the laws and rules are the ones that's the longest one. It's 2 days, 2 full days. Of course, where you review all the laws and rules in the state of Florida that you'll need to be aware of and adhere to. The HIV and domestic violence are shorter. And a lot of times you can find a great package deal on the NASW website, on cebroker.com is another website. And then, of course, you could, the NASW, a lot of times they have, in each state might have their annual, how do they call it, their workshop, but they'll give you licensure classes that you need. You can get it knocked out in 2 days. So.
Okay, so UCF doesn't offer any kind of like thing to do that, I'm assuming, no.
That's no.
No, it's technically it's not part of the curriculum for the MSW program, so it's not offered through the university. Occasionally, we have a licensure prep course that is available, and whenever that happens, I definitely spam email and Facebook and all that to let you know that it's available. But the laws and rules, the HIV course, domestic violence course, we don't usually offer those.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Just if you're worried about the cost of them, like I said, there are a couple of days, but like CE Broker has it for, you can get all 3 courses for $89, for example. So that's just because I know sometimes it feels like, oh, I gotta enroll in like a college course. It's not like that.
Yeah, and if you're another
What was
state,
that called?
oh sorry.
Oh, sorry. I just want to know what it was called.
Yeah, cebroker.com. So yeah, and they have the package deal for licensure prep.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think I see something in the chat. I did also post the CE
Yeah,
broker
really
link.
good. Thank you. Yeah.
Is there a time limit to gain supervision hours if you are working part-time and it takes more than 2 to 3 years to gain the hours and take the test?
Yes, there's, and this is pretty much almost every state that I think I looked at 16 states last time I did the workshop, and all of them had a 5-year limit. So from the time you get registered, that's the time frame they want to make sure you can achieve your supervision hours and your client contact hours within that 5-year time frame. And my experience in providing supervision, most, even if you're doing part-time, I had one woman, she was only able to see maybe very part-time 5 to 10, 8 at the most clients a week, and she was able to meet all the requirements in the 5-year span. So, yeah. Good questions, yeah. I wonder if I can always find, I don't know if there's a way, Adriana, but I'm gonna try to record it, even though I don't like my recording the workshop, but I could try to share it. So I try to go through, you know, some of the standard things that apply state to state for licensure preparation. I also have the end portion, we talk about how to try to prepare for the test and some resources. And the test is nationwide, so you're gonna take the same test no matter what state you're in.
Right.
National-
Yeah, that would be excellent. It's also something we're hoping soon we will have a second advisor on board. And so another session that's just related to licensure, something like that is definitely something that we're looking to host in the future. So yeah, any help you can give in that arena is great. I know there's a lot of different states and they're
Yeah.
very widely so. It's good to know. But if we have anything like that, I will definitely let your students and all the students know about that. That is all we have for you today. Thank you so much for joining us, and I will get this information out to you in the next 24 hours or so. But if you have any questions between now and then, feel free to reach out. Thank you so much, Ms. Kuchman. I
Yeah,
really
thank
appreciate you being
you.
here.
Thank you for having me.
Have a great day, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.